Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions MC and producer. And joining me as usual, my partner in crime, the one, the only, the goddess of DC, Rayceen Pendarvis! Hey
Ooh.
Rayceen!
Oh, how are you? Greetings and salutations, everyone.
Yes, honey. Yes, I live, and we are living. It is so great to have you here, and it is so great that we have our next guest with us today. So excited to have him with us. You are well acquainted with him, which is great. We always love chatting to people that we're well acquainted with. And he is also the winner of the Lambda Literary Award for LGBT debut fiction for his book, A Love Like Blood. We want to welcome to the stage, to the Team Racing YouTube Live, to our little thing that we do here on this channel. We want to welcome the one, the only, Victor Yates. Yes. And Victor is just joining. He's
Yes, come
coming
on
in,
down.
coming
You're the
in,
next
coming in,
contestant.
coming into the room, coming into
Oh,
the
the
room
price is right. And
as
you
the
get a new
connection
car.
builds. I love it. I love it. Welcome, Victor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you both?
We are
We are doing
wonderful. Can we tell you
fabulous.
we are loving your background? Your background
Ah,
is given. Welcome, welcome. For today, I'll be
Yes.
cooking.
It is giving, yes, it is giving it's giving very network TV, cooking show. It's giving very that.
I'm waiting
But
on
the ones that are
Paula
shot like in the
and
Hamptons
Rachel
or
Ray.
something like that, yes, I love it. And great sunlight coming through. Love to see it. Well, how are you doing, Victor?
I'm an amazing right now just to speak with you both. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate
We love having
It's
you.
our
There's nothing like
pleasure.
a fabulous threesome.
Of course, of course. And as we mentioned at the top of this interview, you guys are quite acquainted. Tell me about that, about meeting each other and how acquainted are you?
I loved this moment. And so
Oh,
I am such a fan of Racine. You do so much for the community. You just do not know. Like, you are indeed the empress of pride and the LGBTQ plus community. You have created a platform for us, and
oh,
it's just beautiful to see, and that you have a team behind you. So you're working with young leaders to prepare them to transition into the role that you have in the community.
oh,
And
thank
so it was
you.
I'm going to be presumptuous and take that as a shout out to me.
no, but it was overwhelming. It was beautiful, and it's a moment that I will remember always.
Oh,
Awesome,
thank you.
awesome. And
I'm
where was
honored.
this?
This was at Outright.
Outright, of course. I mean, I saw it and I knew it. Definitely outright, outright. One of the wonderful things that we have here in this area when it comes to literature, especially for queer people. And as someone who is so interested in queer writing myself, and I write a little bit, nothing published yet, hopefully coming soon. Seeing people like you, of course, is definitely an inspiration. And, we introduced you by mentioning the fact that you are the winner of the Lambda Literary Award for LGBT debut fiction for, of course, A Love Like Blood. Tell me what it was like winning this award, being recognized by your LGBT literary peers, and give us some insight on the book.
So I wasn't expecting to win the award because the book was independently published, and everyone else that I was in the category with, they were backed by these huge publishing companies. And it was just such an amazing moment because one, when I wrote the book, I wasn't looking for awards. I was looking to create a voice for the voiceless. The book is about a young queer photographer who is trying to win the love and acceptance of his father, who the father basically doesn't love him as a whole. He loves parts of him, but he would love him as a whole if he was not gay. And so I wanted to write this book because of the thousands and thousands of young queer youth who they don't feel seen or represented, especially in literature.
Yes.
So it was important for me to write this story because I was hoping that, especially for parents to read this story, for them to understand the struggles that their children go through,
Yes.
just to be accepted and loved as they are. It is so important for parents to tell their queer youth that I love you as you are, and I don't want you to change anything about yourself. So that was the goal behind writing this book.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
that's so important to know that our stories matter. And, you know, I think about coming up as a young person, it wasn't very many stories for me. You know, it was like we had to literally go to the back of the bookstore, and it was like not even a full shelf. It was like a half of a shelf for books that you know, that celebrated my experience, and not even talking about a person of color, because that wasn't even heard of. There was nothing.
Yeah.
So to pick up books by so many young people I know, or so many people I know, or so many people I have the conversations with, and be inspired to read, because I love reading. Reading is
fundamental.
It's fundamental. And it takes us to a whole nother level. It allows us to vision, to dream, to inspire. And there's nothing like what words do and take you through a journey. So how have you been doing in this time, creating this space of being in a place that we have been locked down for quite some time? So how has that been for a creative person such as yourself?
You know, the pandemic has been devastating to a lot of people. And I, at first, was confused. There wasn't a national mandate. And so I turned within, which I do a lot, and I decided to create as much as I can. And so I threw myself into the art making practice, and I applied for a grant through the city of West Hollywood to create a Black Lives Matter video performance that premiered about 3 weeks ago on the city website. And the project is about healing from trauma, re-traumatization that we've experienced through like being bombarded by these images of Black people being killed by the police. And so it was a beautiful project. I have just thrown myself into making art. I actually received a new grant from the city of Glendale to take that project and to elevate it. And so I'm going to work with more artists. I'm really excited about that. I just received a scholarship. I'm furloughed from work. And so I just received a scholarship to go back to school for digital media. My full-time job, I work in digital media. And so I'm self-taught. And so I'm excited that I get to actually learn from professionals with digital media. I have just been trying to do as much as I can with the time that I have. And I also have an essay coming out in an anthology beginning of next year. It's called Invisible Voices, and it's with Black gay men and talking about visibility and representation in like the mainstream queer community.
Oh God, which is so important. So you have been busy
Yeah.
during this time, which I love, and I've been saying this with so many of the interviews that we've been doing, where um trying to take the darkness of the time, finding the light within it and using it, for a type of renaissance, resurgence, artistic enlightenment for many people in some ways, and also merging whatever those that artistic enlightenment might be with social issues, things
Yeah.
of the time, things of the day, things that are important to us and mankind in general. And thinking or hearing you talk about these things, especially that affect people like us, especially as none of us, I think, really grew up with, wherever we fall, really grew up with certain type of black queer role models, or organizations or spaces or communities or art or anything that really informed the queer black experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's great to see that now we are getting this outpouring from artists and from creators and from thinkers, that will lead to the generations behind us of queer black people to have these things, and to be much more well formed and well informed, and well-rounded, individuals being in tune with their blackness and their queerness from an
Yeah.
early age.
Yeah. And I love that. And also, I think it's imagine being transgender or
Hmm.
non-binary, and
Yes.
it's even less representation. And
Hmm.
this week is Transgender Awareness Week. And tomorrow, the city of West Hollywood, they're having a Zoom memorial um, presentation for
Hmm.
individuals who have lost their lives, unfortunately, because they are transgender or non-binary. And I actually lent my voice to that project, so I
Yeah.
will be a part of it. And so it's representation is so important, and that's why I kind of like throw myself out into the community. I also write for the only Black LGBT um, magazine on the West Coast. It's called
Mm.
Message. And a lot of the articles and essays that I write are about the transgender community, because I feel like they have less representation.
Yes, by
And
far.
it's
So you
important.
are out on the West Coast, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yes, that's
That's
why
why
the
the
kitchen
light
looks like that.
is so bright.
Exactly. There we go. That's why the light is giving the way it's giving. It's so West Coast behind you. It's giving very that.
I'm just waiting on Martha and Rachel and all of them to come just at least walk by and wave and say, "Hey, Queens."
I love it. I love it.
But what I'm feeling from you is this whole emergence of creativity, juices flowing, all of this stuff going. And then all of this, I'm picturing that the film is coming. The
Oh,
film is on its way.
I
The film is on its way. And somehow you're going to reach out and Rayceen's going to have a fabulous cameo somewhere. Somewhere. We're
yeah,
going to be somewhere in the background being
yeah.
fabulous or something in the film. So we just putting it out there now.
Actually, during this time, I also worked on a screenplay. So
Oh,
it possibly, possibly.
could you give us a slight hint as to the subject matter?
Yeah, so my background is also in education. And so I worked at a school that was haunted. And so
Oh.
the the story is about a school setting that it appears to be haunted,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something else that's happening at the school. And
Mm.
so it's I hate horror movies, but I love horror movies that have like a scientific um, reason for
Uh-huh.
phenomenon to happen.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like a scientific horror story.
Oh, well, honey, I love a spooky ooky story any day, honey. My favorite season just passed, October. I love spooky season.
Yeah.
So I love that. That is great. And speaking of horror in any way, we are talking about the emergence of many things and representation and stuff like that. And it's great to see the amount of Black horror representation, for especially for someone like me who is a fan of horror movies and horror stories in general. And so I fed on a lot of that growing up. But it was mostly, white stories. So it's great to see lots of Black stories now coming out with that, and very inventive stuff, new things like Bad Hair I just saw on
Yeah.
Hulu, like that is like out of the water. Like it's, very inventive. There's nothing like it. There's literally nothing like it. When Get Out came out is the same way, so there's a certain smartness, intelligence, and just new creativity that's infused and stuff like that. And even with this screenplay you're producing now, that you're creating now, that has this scientific lens through which this terror is being produced, is really, really, really great to see. So I am, of course, very excited about that and can't wait to see how that unfolds.
I can't wait to see it either.
How about that? We're wishing you nothing but the best.
Oh, thank you.
But
Thank you
the
so much.
best. I'm so happy and so honored that we just had this time, just had this
Yes,
wonderful fellowship.
definitely.
You know,
And as we're rounding out, let us do some shameless plugs, because we have the queen of the shameless plug here. So let's
Okay.
do some shameless plugs. What's coming up? How can people find your book? Your website, social media, all of that.
All right. So you can find my book, A Love Like Blood, on Amazon. It makes a
Mm-hmm.
great Christmas gift. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's writer Vic Yates. Twitter is writer Vic Yates, and also my YouTube channel is writer Vic Yates as well. And if you can't buy the book, you can always subscribe to any of those platforms. And my anthology, Invisible Voices, comes out next year, and you can also find that on Amazon as well.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Victor, for joining us today. It's been such an immense, immense pleasure, and it's a great way to round out our interviews. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
you too,
Thank
my
you.
beloved. And most of all, thank you for watching.
Bye, everyone.